Hi, everybody. All right, well, whoops. Welcome to week 5. We're going to do this differently this week. I think we're going to have a separate video for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So there's going to be in the instructional video folder, there's going to be 4 videos because some of our concepts are a little different. And so I think it'd just be easier if we just had 4 videos, but make sure you watch all 4 videos because you don't want to miss anything. All right, let's get into it. So our standard for this week is NBT 2.4, which is frequently add and subtract multi-digit whole numbers using the standard algorithm. So I forgot to put this on the vocabulary slide, but an algorithm, when you say the standard algorithm, it's how we typically would do it. So like lining up the numbers and adding them or subtracting them like the traditional way. All right, so our weekly overview for this week. So we have the weekly overview video, which you should have already watched. That was task 1. Task 2 is to watch all the instructional videos. Task 3 is to do the weekly assignment on Savas. And task 4 is the weekly assessment. So that is your grade. That's what's going on to get your grades for your report card. All right, so let's review from 3rd grade these properties. So the first property is the associative property of addition. So the associative property of addition says that if you add, it doesn't matter where you put the parentheses when you're adding, as long as you add the same numbers together, you're going to get the same answer. So for example, if I add 2 plus 3 first, so it's going to give me 5, and then I add 4, it's going to give me 9. That's the same thing as if I add 3 plus 4 first, and then add 2, it's still going to give me 9. So what it says is it doesn't matter what order you add them in, as long as you add the same numbers together, you're going to get the same answer. The next property is the commutative property of addition. So that says changing the order does not change the result. So I can add 2 plus 3, and it's going to be the same thing as if I add 3 plus 2. So it's similar to the associative property, but it's only 2 numbers and we don't have parentheses. And you're adding the same 2 numbers together. Whereas the associative property, you're not adding the same 2 numbers. There's 3 numbers and you're adding, it doesn't matter what order you add those 3 numbers in. The last property, let me move my camera, is the identity property of addition. So that's the all about me property. So that is when you add 0 to any number, the sum is still the same. So you can see there's examples, 4 plus 0 equals 4, 13 plus 0 equals 13, 26 plus 0 equals 26, 9 plus 0 equals 9. So anything, if you add 0 to it, it's going to stay the same. All right, so here's some more vocabulary words that we're going to be working on this week. So we have inverse operations. So inverse operations means that you have an operation that reverses the effect of another operation. So we've talked about this a lot in class. So like addition and subtraction go together, multiplication and division go together. So when we're doing our problems, we've done this a lot last year with multiplication. To check your work for division, you would do multiplication. Same thing for addition and subtraction. If I have a subtraction problem, I would add the numbers together to check my work. The next vocabulary word is variable. Variable is the number you are trying to solve for. It's the missing number in the equation. So for example, 1 plus something, x, gives me 3. So that's my variable, the number I'm looking for. The next number is sum. The sum is an answer to an addition equation. So you can see here the picture, 2 plus 3. These are the add-ins. The sum is the answer. So if the question says on the test, find the sum of these numbers, then you have to add those numbers. We just talked about the numbers you're adding together are called add-ins. The next word is the difference. The difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So for example, 3 take away 2, the difference would be 1. And then I don't know if you can see this or not, but the last word is regroup. So we're going to be really focusing on that a lot, especially when we subtract. but to regroup is to rearrange groups in place value to carry out an operation. So you can see from this example, I have 32 take away 15. I can't take 5 away from 2, so I had to regroup. So I regrouped and I took 10 from the tens column over here and gave it to the ones, so that now I have 12. Now I can subtract 12, take away 5. But I'm sure all of you guys know that from last year and previous years. All right, so Monday's lesson. So I figured out how to put these little bit emojis in my PowerPoint, so I'm super excited about it. So Monday, we're going to estimate sums and differences. Okay, so we can estimate sums and differences different ways. So as we have to kind of estimate the number, which means we're going to be rounding just like we did last week and the week before. So this question says, estimate round to the nearest 1,000. So I'm going to have to round these two numbers. So remember, just to review, if I'm trying to round these numbers, let me get my pen ready. Rounding to the nearest 1,000. So that's the number I'm going to circle. And then I'm going to look next door. If it's 4 or less, I let the circled number rest. So that means this is going to stay 4 and everything after it becomes zeros. So 4,298 is going to become 4,000. Let's do the next number, 2,149. I'm still rounding to the nearest 1,000. So oops, that's a 2. I'm going to look next door. If the number next door is 4 or less, I let the circled number rest. So this is 1. So my circled number is going to rest. So it's going to stay 2, and then everything after it becomes everything after it becomes zeros. So I have 4,000 and 2,000. I'm going to add those numbers together. So I know 4 plus 2 is 6. So if I estimated the sum, I would have 6,000. To check that, no, that's not what it's saying. Okay, let's look at the next one. So this time it says round to the nearest 100. So now I'm looking at the hundreds place. I'm gonna draw a little arrow. That's supposed to be an arrow. It looks like an upside down T. So looking at the hundreds, if it's, oh wait, I gotta look next door. If the number next door is 5 or more, I let the circled number soar 1 more. So that means that my 2 is going to become a 3. So I just move my 4 over, I move my 3 over, and then everything after it becomes zeros. Same thing with the 2,149. I'm looking at the hundreds place. So I look next door. If the number next door is 4 or less, I let the circled number rest. So it stays the same. So I would just move my 2 over, my pen. I would move my 2 over, my 1 would just go over because it's going to rest, it's going to stay the same, and then everything after it becomes zeros. So then I always start at the right when I'm adding. 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6. So my estimate, if I'm rounding to the nearest 100, is going to be 6,400. Okay. I'm thinking about which one we're going to do here. Let's look at number 2. So it says estimate each sum or difference. So with this, so when you're rounding, you either, what we just did, you either have to round to the 1,000 or you have to round to the 100, but it has to be the same for both numbers. So you're either going to round to the thousands for both numbers, or you're either going to round to the hundreds for both numbers. You're not going to do two different things. So let's look at number 2. So we're going, it says estimate each sum or difference. So if I have 5,638, so I think I'm going to round these to the nearest 1,000. So let's look at the thousands place. So if I have 5,638, I look next door, If it's 5 or more, I let the circled number soar 1 more. So that means this is going to be 6,000. All right, and then the next number, still remember, I'm going to round to the same place. So I'm going to round to thousands down here. So it's 3, and then I'm going to look next door. If the number next door is 5 or more, I let the circled number soar 1 more. So this would be, the 3 would become a 4. And then everything after it would become a 0. Now it's time to add. So if I have 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. And then I have 6 plus 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to put my comma. And then this would be 10. So if I estimated my answer for that, it would be 10,000. All right, let's do the next one. So at this time, I'm going to round to the nearest 100. So I'm going to look at my hundreds. Oops, hold on. Is there a way to erase this? Oh, eraser, here we go. It's hard because the numbers are so small. I don't think I can do that. Okay, let's try this a different way. What we're going to do is we're just going to write it over here. So that way I can circle the numbers. So I'm going to rewrite my numbers over here so they're bigger. So 63,526, and I'm adding 25,038. And remember last year how we talked about how important it is to line up our numbers correctly. Okay, so I'm going to round to the, well, I didn't really leave a lot of room to change my answer. That's okay. We'll put it over here on the other side. So I'm going to round to the nearest 100. So I'm going to circle my hundreds before I even start. All right, and then I'm going to look at the top number. So I'm going to look next door. If the number next door is 4 or less, I let the circled number rest. So this is going to stay a 5, but I really don't have room to write it over here. So I'm going to write it on the other side. So I'm going to rewrite my number. So the 6 and the 3 stay the same. And then because the number next door was 4 or less, the 5 is going to stay the same. And everything after it becomes zeros. And now let's look at the next one, the number on the bottom. So I look next door. If the number is 4 or less, I let the circled number rest. So that means the 0 is going to stay the same. So I'm still adding, put my addition sign, and then it's 25,000. And then so the 0 stays the same and everything after it becomes zeros. Then I'm going to go ahead and add. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5, my identity property. 3 plus 5, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 6 plus 2, 6, 7, 8. So it would be 8. So my estimated answer would be 88,500. Okay, so now you're going to do some practice. Let me move my camera so you can see my little bit emoji. Yay, let's practice. Okay, you are going to do these problems. So if you're in class, you're going to do these in your book. If you are not in class, you are going to do this. Actually, I sent home your book, so you can do this in your math book. So this is in Math Book Volume 1, page 43. You're going to do 5 through 13 as independent practice. If you have any questions about any of those problems, circle them, and then you can always call me or text me, and I can help you. All right. here's our daily question. So this is the same thing. If you're in class, you have this in front of you, you're going to answer it. If you are not in class, you do not have this with you. So I don't expect you to write all this down, but I would like you to pause the video and go ahead and answer this question in your math journal. Okay, come back for the Tuesday video. See you soon.